we need a new way to talk about teenage girls because the way people do it now isn't fair to girls or helpful to their parents. If you're reading this book, someone has probably already remarked about your daughter, "Oh, just wait till she's a teenager." And parents who say this never mean it in a good way. Hi, everyone. You're listening to the Big Home Ed Conversations podcast. I'm Ashley Venerio, one of your hosts, and I'm here today alone. I'm here to introduce our new book club. I'm hoping to run this somewhat frequently, and at least for September, what's left of it, we are going to be diving into some books. I am super excited to read all of these, mostly because they have been on my bookshelf or in my Audible app for a very long time, and I have never made the effort to get through them. And they are ones that are so good. So I want to dive into them. I want to be able to speak about their content more than just what I've heard about them anyway. And I think some of them will be very relevant for you as well. So if this is your first time tuning in to the Big Home Ed Conversations podcast, please stop listening. Go back and listen to one of our earlier episodes to get a feel for who we are and what we do. This is absolutely just a additional episode, something that we thought would be fun to do with all of you. And I wanted to take this little break that we have right now from our regular podcasting schedule to launch it. So my plan for today is to share with you the books that are on my list. And I will share with you the book that I'm going to start with. And we will just go from there. Add them to your lists, look to see if they're in your library apps or if they're at your library or if they're ones that you already have on your bookshelf but haven't read yet. This is the time. So I will run through them and say a little bit about them, at least what I know about them, why they're interesting to me. And then we will wrap up and tune in next time for what will hopefully be an interesting one-way discussion. You'll be listening to me chat about what I thought about the book, what I thought was interesting, parts that were surprising or not. And hopefully, if you didn't have a chance to read the book, it'll at least be a good summary for you and help you decide if you want to read it, if it's something that you think you should. And I think with these books, I don't know if any of you read parenting books when your kids are maybe younger or still are now. I know I want to be. There are so many things about them that in the moment you're like, yes, this is so good. I need to do this. And then you close the book, you finish reading it, and a week later you've forgotten all but maybe like one or two takeaways. And I always think to myself, gosh, I need to go back and reread these parenting books because I know they would be applicable to me now. And there's probably things that are more relevant now than they were the last time I read them when I had younger children or just different types of children in terms of where they were developmentally. So I think that hopefully these little summaries will also be a helpful reminder of the important parts so that if you've forgotten, if you've read them before, you can be like, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, I'm going to keep that in mind. So anyway, that is my goal. And I will start to take you through some of the books that I have here. And you'll get to see that they do range. A lot of them are definitely school related, but some of them aren't. Some of them are just about kids. And I will start with the first one, The Anxious Generation. This is by, oh my gosh, please forgive me if I say these names wrong. Jonathan Haidt. Had it? Oh. And this is not a new book. We've all heard of this book, right? So the little subtitle here under The Anxious Generation is How the Great Rewiring of Childhood is Causing an Epidemic of Mental Illness. I have seen 1,000 quotes from this book, whether it's on Instagram or just some moms like putting it on a post that they have on Facebook or whatever the case might be. And I think that as my girls are getting older and they're getting to the point where they might be more into using phones and thinking about social media, this is definitely one I want to read, especially as I know I'm going to have to stand strong as to why I don't think it's appropriate. Thankfully, I have a very supportive spouse who I don't think would ever say, oh no, just give them a phone. It's totally fine. So I'm in a very good spot for that, which I'm so appreciative of, because I think that if I'm remembering the statistic right, it's no phones before 14 and no social media before 16. And I'm sure that's going to be very hard to do as the girls start to get older. My oldest is 11. So that is the first one, The Anxious Generation. Excited about that one. The next one is a book called Untangled. And it says, Guiding Teenage Girls Through the 7 Transitions into Adulthood. I have already read some of the preface of this one, and let me just turn the pages here. I highlighted a couple things that I thought sounded so amazing. Oh, and this is by Lisa Damour, PhD. And so the introduction just says, we need a new way to talk about teenage girls because the way people do it now isn't fair to girls or helpful to their parents. If you're reading this book, someone has probably already remarked about your daughter, oh, just wait till she's a teenager. And parents who say this never mean it in a good way. A little further down. Too often we talk about adolescence as if it's bound to be a harrowing, turbulent time for teenagers and their parents. We make raising a teenage girl sound like a roller coaster ride. The whole family hops on, white knuckles their way through, and the parents hope that after all the ups and downs, their daughter steps off at the end as a healthy, happy adult. A little further down. There is a predictable pattern to teenage development, a blueprint for how girls grow. When you understand what makes your daughter tick, she suddenly makes a lot more sense. Okay, does this not sound like a book you want to read if you have daughters? I don't want to dread the teenage years. I want to embrace them. And I've heard other moms say that they had great teenage years with their daughters. So I want to take the shame out of growth for our girls away and make it an enjoyable time. So that is one that I definitely want to read, and most likely will be the first one that I read this coming week and chat about next week with you guys. Okay, the third one is called The Case for Make-Believe, Saving Play in a Commercialized World by Susan Linn. Now, this book, I think while my children are a little bit older, it is definitely still something I want to read. It is definitely still something that I think I will get value out of. And if anything, it'll just reaffirm our decisions in parenting and how we're raising our children, because I am so thrilled that my 11-year-old is still doing a lot of the things that she did when she was 10, when she was 9. I'm thrilled that she is not recording TikTok videos. I am thrilled that she's not asking me for really stylish clothing. I know it's coming, but I'm happy to keep her little. I'm happy to keep her just sort of enjoying where she's at. So anyway, this one just sounds fun, and I'm hoping it's a good one. So a little bit from the back. In The Case for Make-Believe, Linn turns her attention to play. According to Linn, although play is crucial to human development and children are born with an innate capacity for make-believe, the convergence of ambiguous technology and unfettered commercialism actually prevents them from playing. In fact, in modern-day America, nurturing creative play is not only countercultural, it threatens corporate profits. In an age when toys come from TV shows and dress up means wearing Disney costumes, Dr. Linn connects the dots for us, laying out the inextricable links between play, creativity, and health, and showing us how and why we must reclaim childhood for our children. So if you're a home ed parent, or any parent that's listening to this conversation right now, and you have little kids, this book will be for you. I think it sounds great. The next one, this kind of goes along with the Untangled book, is called Between. And it's by Sarah Ockwell-Smith. It's a guide for parents of 8 to 13-year-olds. So it's kind of like, they're not really a kid, but they're not really a teenager. And this book is really interesting because I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, that Sarah was a person who wrote a bunch of books for younger children, parenting books for younger children, and just realized that there was this gap of teenage parenting books, preteen parenting books. But with this preteen age group, there just wasn't really a request for it enough to financially support a book publication for it. And so I think it kind of was overlooked. And she finally was like, you know what? We're doing this. This is absolutely something that we are going to focus on. And so I think it's really cool. I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering this wrong, and Sarah Ockwell-Smith, if you're listening to this and I have got it all wrong, please tell me. I'm pretty sure I listened to a podcast a couple years ago where I heard this, and that's how I heard about the book. But anyway, a little snippet from the introduction to this. The presumption being that if a child is beginning to resemble an adult physically, they should behave like one too. But these views usually tell us more about the person holding them than they do about our children. Research has shown that adults who had a strict authoritarian upbringing are far more likely to find fault with today's tweens and teens. Adolescents today are considerably better in many ways than those from previous generations. Rates of smoking, underage drinking, drug use, antisocial behavior, and teen pregnancies have fallen, while academic achievement, concern for the environment, and acceptance of diversity have risen. So, just so interesting. Your child still needs you to help them to feel secure and steer them on their journey. Grow the independence and confidence that they require for the future. Another one. This generation is growing up online more than ever before. We can't escape the lure of screens and their influence over almost every element of our lives. Okay, so anyway, those are just things I highlighted from the introduction. So I'd read the introduction to this. The first chapter is called Tween Biology, Changing Brains and Bodies. I mean, so cool. I mean, it gives you the science behind it too, which I find incredibly interesting. So I have a feeling this will be a really good one too. I'm excited to read it. And hopefully I have the backstory right. And my apologies if I don't. Okay, the other books that I have, Hold On to Your Kids, Why Parents Need to Matter More Than Peers by Gordon Neufeld and Gabor Mate. So I've heard a couple things about it, and it just talks about how when we sort of let our kids go with their peer groups and that being like where they're getting their confidence and reassurance and like feeling part of a group from versus getting that from their home environment can be problematic. And so I thought this just sounded really good and definitely something that I want to listen to, especially as we're getting way more social media influence and you can kind of tap into your peers all the time now, not just at school. So that one sounds really good. The other one I was looking at is called Hunt, Gather, Parent. Ancient Cultures Can Teach Us About the Lost Art of Raising Happy, Helpful Little Humans. And that's by Michaeline Ducliffe. So that I thought sounded really good and definitely like something that probably has some good tidbits in. So that's one of the ones. The next one by Dr. Laura Markham is called Peaceful Parent, Happy Siblings, How to Stop the Fighting and Raise Friends for Life. So I have friends who are adults, obviously, who have fantastic sibling relationships as adults and those that don't. And when I hear the ones that don't talk about that, it really just breaks my heart. And I feel like I have such fond memories of growing up with my siblings and I enjoy their company so much as adults that I want my children to have that secure base of like their sisterhood, especially because it's 3 girls. I always wanted a sister. I never had a sister. I only had brothers. And I think having had a sister would have been amazing, especially as a grown-up, right? Built-in best friend. Hopefully you guys raise your kids together. I'm not saying brothers aren't great. They are, but it's different. It is just different. And so I would love to see that relationship grow as they grow and hopefully be really strong in adulthood. And I just don't want to ever have my kids just despise who their sister is as an adult and not have a relationship with them. It would just break my heart. So I'm hoping that this will help to just provide some comfort and guidance into how things are today and just, little things we can do in the future to ensure that they're building a really good foundation. Because it's not just my relationship with them that's happening right now, right? It's their relationship with each other. So I think that's important. We also have recently had some requests about homeschooling and talking about how we manage the dynamic of siblings at home and obviously the bickering that can go on with that. And so we're definitely going to talk more about that in future episodes and just our personal experiences and what we found. But I thought this book would also play into that as well. So if that's something you're curious about, this might be a good one. The next one I have is by Jennifer Pepito, and it's called Habits for a Sacred Home, 9 Practices from History to Anchor and Restore Modern Families. And I just thought that was cool. So we're definitely going to read that one, similar to the other one that I was mentioning earlier. called Hunt, Gather, Parent. I think that one talking about ancient cultures and this one as well, just talking about practices from history, could just be fun to bring in. The next one is one you've definitely heard about and maybe have already read, called The 4-Hour School Day: How You and Your Kids Can Thrive in the Homeschool Life. I've never read it. Maybe there's some good tips in there. I actually have the audiobook for this one, and it's 5 hours and 49 minutes. I listen to audiobooks anywhere from 1.5 to 2 times speed, depending on the narrator. So most of the time, I'm comfortable at a 2 times speed, but sometimes if the narrator has a particular accent, usually it's one that they're like putting on, because I read a lot of fiction as well. So like they're doing a different accent for a different character. Sometimes that can make it where if I speed it up too much, I can't understand it very well. And so I think for this one, since these are nonfiction books and they're just going to be read, I think that I could probably manage 2 times speed. So this is a 3-hour listen for me. So that's going to be great. Hopefully that'll be something I can get through in just an afternoon of doing laundry and housework and tidying and all that. So that should be a good one. The next one is another one you've definitely heard of, and I have dipped in and out of this but never completed it. And this one's called Homeschool Bravely: How to Squash Doubt, Trust God, and Teach Your Child with Confidence. This is written and narrated by Jamie Erickson, and it is one of the ones that you constantly see in home education, homeschooling accounts on Instagram. And it's a book that is recommended for anyone jumping into the world of homeschooling. And I've never really read it. I've just had excerpts shared with me. So I'm curious about this one. I think it talks a lot about not having fear around homeschooling and understanding you are capable of doing this. You can do it. So I think it's very hopefully confidence building and just being something that is sort of a feel good read and hopefully giving you some good tips. The next one I have read, but it was a while ago, and I'm very excited to reread it. It's called The Read Aloud Family: Making Meaningful and Lasting Connections with Your Kids. The thing I love about this is it is a very practical book. So you get tons of examples, and I love that. It's not just like theoretical and talking about things pie in the sky and then you have to go do the work. This book has what you need. So thank you, Sarah McKenzie, for putting this together. You probably know her name in the home ed world as well if you've been around for a little bit. I believe her website is the Read Aloud Revival, and she does have a podcast. She has book lists and she has a family book club. And this looks fantastic. I will definitely be spending more time on this page. So go to her readaloudrevival.com website and take a look, because I think you'll find some interesting things there. But I will absolutely be reading her book. This is one I think I would recommend the physical copy for. I do have the audio through one of my audiobook subscriptions. I'm going to try it. But if it gets to the point where the author is like reading through a list of books with the like title, author name, subject, that is going to be awful. And I have tried to listen to a cookbook on an audio. Miserable. They just don't translate. So I think that was one. Try getting it from your library, or see if you can get the ebook through like Kindle Unlimited or something like that, because I don't think it would be the best audiobook. But I do have an audiobook and I will let you know. The next one I have is Let Them Be Kids: Adventure, Boredom, Innocence, and Other Gifts Children Need by Jessica Smart. That is Smart with 2 T's. I love her. I think her books are amazing. She did The Memory Making Mom, which is the book that I talked about a couple episodes ago with Kelly, about how you can do these simple things throughout your weekly routine that really build meaningful experiences in your kids' lives, like Pancake Sundays, Pizza Tuesdays. I guess it'd be Taco Tuesdays, wouldn't it? But anyway, pizza at a movie night, like things like that, right? So I love her. I think her books are great. Also very practical. The Memory Making Mom is very practical. And I'm assuming this one will be somewhat less practical. But anyway, we'll find out. So that one looks really good. The next one I have is Raising Critical Thinkers. Now, this is Julie Bogart. I love her. I could go down a rabbit hole talking about how much I love her. We do her Brave Learner series for a lot of our language arts. I love her book units. I can't recommend it enough. Her jot it down writing process. I highly recommend it. It's so fun. So anyway, Raising Critical Thinkers is her newest one, A Parent's Guide to Growing Wise Kids in the Digital Age. And I think this one is so applicable right now because we can't prepare them for every scenario. We just can't. Like, we can tell them, if you see inappropriate images on a phone, put it down and come to me immediately, right? If they're with their friends, at a group, and you just can't control what other kids are going to show your kids, but you can prepare them to think about things in a way that they can approach a situation so that they're prepared and can understand the best course of action. And so I think this is going to be a really good one. I think it's going to be important, and I'm hoping it really helps with some of the challenges that we might face as parents with teen or preteens. So I'm sure you're seeing a pattern to the books that I have. I hope one or two sounded interesting to you. For this week, I want to pick a book that I think will apply to everyone listening to this podcast. So instead of going with Untangled like I had originally planned, I am going to go with The 4-Hour School Day. I think this is one that most people can relate to. Many of you have probably already read it. And if you haven't, it's a great reason to. So it is again called The 4-Hour School Day, How You and Your Kids Can Thrive in the Homeschool Life. And it's written by Durenda Wilson. So absolutely take a look at that. And if it's of interest, give it a read. And we will be back next week to talk about it. Thanks for tuning in to this introduction to our book club. And I look forward to speaking with you soon. You've been listening to the Big Home Ed Conversations podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Big Home Ed Podcast for updates. We'll be back again next week with our review of The 4-Hour School Day, How You and Your Kids Can Thrive in the Homeschool Life, as our first book club episode. I hope you join us.